This is your A Plus Moment with Dr. H, the Global Mentor Coach.
Hey you guys, I'm back, and yes, I look like an alien because the headphones help me so much, so you'll probably be seeing them a lot more regularly. And hey, in my last video, I talked about breaking free of standards based upon cultural norms, society, and all these different things, and creating some standards for yourself by which you live. And one of the things I said at the end of the video was making sure those standards are realistic. A lot of times we impose things upon ourselves that are not realistic, which causes unnecessary stress, which results in strain, heart issues and, issues with our blood, all kinds of different stuff that wears physically on our bodies because mentally and emotionally we're just not there because we're trying to push ourselves to some things that it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So how do you know if the standards you have for yourself are realistic? Well, I'm going to use myself as an example. Remember that I was talking about one of my core values is excellence. It always has been as a child. I've always pushed myself, like push, being an overachiever and all these different things, pushing myself for various reasons. And one of the things it did was kind of push me into this area of perfectionism. The weird thing is, it's only with certain things. It's things that, it's just kind of like, I do housework, but it's just kind of like, meh. But when it comes to my work and my education and my books and my scripts and all of these different things, even my videos, everything had to be precise. And it was like, okay, but it was taking me forever with some of these things because I kept nagging at it, and I kept nagging at it, and I kept nagging at it. It's kind of like, one of my deans I used to work with when it came down to releasing his first book. When I say he nagged at that manuscript and nagged at it and nagged at it, he kept changing it and then changing stuff back, changing something and change it back. And I finally said, you have to let it go. Like, you can't hold on to this forever. You have to let it go. This is something that people need. You really believe in it. You have to let it go. I said, that's why there are second and third and fourth editions. And so he said, you're absolutely right. And finally, he let it go and released it. And that's how I am with myself. A lot of times I make myself stop and I say, first of all, Latanya, how realistic is this? How realistic is it, and why are you being so hard on yourself? Take your own advice and be kind to yourself. The other thing I look at is, why is this even necessary? Why is this detail so important? How much value is it going to add either to the content or overall representation or presentation of what you're doing? Now, I'm not talking about, like for instance, I'm speaking at a conference coming up really soon. I'm going to do my presentation and I'm going to practice it. That's not perfectionism. That's excellence, because I want to make sure I'm presenting information, factual information, useful information, and credible information. But I want to do it in a way that it's persuasive. And I'm not reading from a script and it's not dull and boring, versus perfectionism when I've got to memorize it by heart and I've got to do this and it's got to be that and da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da. I'm not marching to a specific beat. I'm giving myself room for flexibility. I'm giving myself room to make mistakes so that I can learn from those mistakes. Sometimes perfectionism does not allow room for you to make mistakes, to see your flaws. Listen, flaws are not bad. And sometimes the standards we impose on ourselves is to prevent flaws. But the thing about life is, flaws are necessary for our growth and development. Otherwise, we will never know what our full potential is, because we don't allow ourselves to make mistakes. We don't make room for the flaws. And what I want to say to you is create your own safe space to be flawed. That is how you recognize whether your standards are realistic. Create a safe space to be flawed. That's it. To be honest, that's it. That's all I got for you. Because that's what works for me. Now, somebody else may say, hey, do this, and this. That's fine. But for me, that's what works for me. And I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. But it starts with you really taking a look at your standards and asking yourself some serious questions. And those questions are designed to make you face yourself. And, so create a safe space to be flawed. And sometimes that means standing in the mirror, looking at yourself and asking those hard questions. And one of the most difficult questions to ask is, why are you so inflexible? And create a safe space to answer that for you. So until next time, you guys. Ciao.
This has been your A+ Minute with Dr. H, the Global Mentor Coach.